Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is exciting for me to be here with you today. How is everybody doing today? I hope all is well. I hope wherever you are, you're finding nothing but goodness
How is everybody doing today?
in your life with yourselves and your partners and your family and your friends. That is what I'm hoping for you today. Welcome to an inspiring, that's the word I'm looking for, episode of Untomodu Show on Untomodu TV. I'm your host, Ambassador Dr. Uwa Onyoha Osimiri, Dr. O, your internet auntie. I'm also the president of the African Women Mobilization Commission, which is a non-profit organization taking proactive action in the lives for change, proactive action for change in the lives of women and children. Ndomodu means words of wisdom that we share to add to your repertoire. By we, I mean me and my guests. Today, however, is a solo presentation. Why this show matters. In a world where our stories deserve to be told, this platform amplifies the voices that shape our community. By tuning in, you not only gain valuable insights, but also join a movement celebrating success, culture, and unity. But wait, there's more. To keep the spirit of this show going, we need your support. Subscribe to our channel and become a vital part of our journey. Remember, our organization thrives on your patronage, and every subscription helps us bring inspiring content to your ears. So let's make some noise together and show the world the power of our Ntomodo community. We are going to now dive into the episode that has inspired this gathering today. We always try to showcase some of the works of individuals who have made a difference, who are trying to make a difference in our lives. And one of such persons is Gary Chapman. You know, sometimes it's imperative for us to leave our comfort zones and find out what's going on in our world. Sometimes we get so comfortable. We just want to be home, alone to ourselves, and, but that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes, you need to go out there and go to workshops, seminars, so that you can find out what people are thinking that may be different from yours. And in so doing, you may find out some things that can help you to structure your world a little bit better. Love Languages is developed by Dr. Gary Chapman, and he has a book that he has written, 5 languages, love languages. And I tell you, I think it's very important for those of you who are married, or those of you who have friends, or those of you who are part of a community. It's important to read such words and learn some of the ways that you can use to enhance your relationships with others. And I really appreciate reading his book, and I think that you appreciate it too. So let's dive into the conversation today, and it's understanding love languages. Understanding love languages. I think it's important that we discuss this. Now, some of you may not be having any challenges in your lives, but some of you may be. So let's discuss this. But before we do so, I will play this short video. Yes. So what is it exactly we're talking about? What is love languages? In today's episode, I want to talk about how we can transform our connection with others. And if you can just get a pen and paper and just take some notes, because I think this is going to be very helpful to you today. All right. So what are love languages? The concept is simple yet very powerful. Dr. Gary Chapman identifies 5 phrases, or rather 5 distinct love languages that describe how we express and receive love. So I'm going to talk about each one of them. One of the love languages is words of affirmation. Have you, within yourself, do you know, can you attest to the fact that maybe you love to receive words of appreciation? Some people don't care about it, but some people do. That's your love language. You like to receive compliments, words of appreciation, encouraging phrases that make you feel loved and belonging, and you belong to the person that's your partner or your community or your friend. You feel valued when you receive compliments. There are some people who don't care, but some people do. That may be your love language. For instance, saying, I appreciate you, or you did a great job, can uplift and straighten that the sense of those individuals who consider words of affirmation their love language. Sometimes you have you ever had a situation where you got dressed and you're looking good and you really think you're all that and then some, and then you come downstairs and you talk to you see your partner, and you're just holding your breath waiting for those compliments, and it doesn't come. Maybe you get a peck on your on your forehead and your partner just walks away. But that's probably because he doesn't understand that words of affirmation is your love language, that you appreciate that. Just saying, oh my goodness, you look beautiful today. I smell that beautiful perfume. Not just for the women, men love that too. You just have to share with your partner that you appreciate them in whatever they present to you on that particular day or time. But I do know there are some individuals that it doesn't matter how much you dress up, or what cologne you put on or whatever, they just don't notice it. And that's because they don't realize that that's your love language. You love to be appreciated. The affirmations are very important to you, but it's important that the affirmations are not insincere, that they are sincere, so that when it's expressed, you really feel it. You really feel this person really cares about you. For those of you who don't know, they are individuals who really appreciate it. So when you see your partner dressed up nice or doing something, has done something probably different from what you usually see. So it's important to let them know, hey, I see you. I see you. You matter. You matter to me. Or at least if you give them those affirmations, they know that you understand that they went out of their way to please you. And so you say, you look good. You give them compliments. Don't withhold your compliments. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't take anything from you. But if you just show people or your partner that their effort matter and you compliment them, you will find that you keep the fire in your relationship going. Now, those are words of affirmation. And then the other thing is acts of service. Sometimes what we do for each other is just as important as what we say. For some people, this is what they appreciate. That's their love language, acts of service. Sometimes actions speak better than words. For some individuals, you can compliment them from here to high heavens, and it doesn't mean anything to them. It may seem like it's just empty words. So you want to know what the love language of your partner is, and I'll get to that in a moment. But some of the actions that we do speak a lot more than the words that we say. Like cooking a good meal. Maybe you've gone for a few days and you have not cooked a real good meal, no takeouts, no pizza. You actually take the time to cook, or running errands for your partner, or taking on chores that you don't have to be told to do. That can actually show profound love for your partner. Now, this love language rather, emphasizes the importance of showing care through tangible actions. What you do matters. How you show your love by doing matters. If your partner is feeling overwhelmed and is exhausted, let's say you're a man, you come back from work and you see your wife, your partner is exhausted and on the sofa, don't say, oh, go get me something to drink. That's not the time for that. You have to show a little bit more compassion. You may decide doing dishes and not allowing her to do it, or vice versa, or she's she's knocked out on the sofa, and you get a little blanket and put over her, and or you communicate your love far more than words can express by just some of these things that you do. You know, there are marriages that last 50, 60, 70 years. There's a reason for it. These people are connected, they're in tune with each other, they know what works. It's not always a sexual thing. Love doesn't always have to be that. Love are simple things that we do to stay connected to that individual. You know, never take a spouse, a partner for granted, a friend for granted, for that matter. You see, so some of these acts, love languages, so to speak, are very important to keep the fire burning. You know, I know some of you may see individuals. I know I personally I've seen elderly individuals who are walking hand in hand, still pausing to kiss each other and just hug each other. I mean, there are just certain things that people do that keep them connected. Yeah, the first video that I showed you where there are two individuals who are at a restaurant and they're not connected. Yes, they are together. They are at a restaurant together, but they're not connected. You know, they're not paying attention to each other. So they're just some things that we need to pay attention that may be causing the strife in our relationships without us having to say, oh, we're done, I'm through, I'm getting a divorce. You don't always have to. Divorce is not always the answer, because sometimes when you get a divorce from somebody, you know, you still miss them, and ultimately you come back together. Well, some people don't come back together, but some people do. But the real reason why we separate for each other, now, certainly, if you're in an abusive relationship, there's nothing you can do about that. That I don't think can be rekindled. However, if it's just because you're bored or the fire is gone, you need to find a way to rekindle that relationship, get the fire, to light that fire again. Sometimes, for some individuals, receiving gifts is their love language. It's often misunderstood as being materialistic, but it's not. You know, some people say, well, oh, what she does is she just wants me to get this for her or get this for her. But it's their love language. They love receiving gifts, and it doesn't have to be expensive gifts. It could be just anything. You know, even small little tokens, little gifts can do. I remember there's a gentleman, I saw him at a Walmart, and he was buying flowers. He was an old and elderly gentleman, maybe about, as my guess, I'm guessing about 70, 80 years old or something like that. And he was buying these beautiful flowers, and he paused and he says, this is for my wife, Abigail. I said, oh, how wonderful. Good for Abigail. He says, yeah, I give her flowers every Saturday. I make sure she receives flowers. She loves that, and I love her, and that's why I do this. You know, receiving gifts can be very important. You know, it's a meaningful token, and it conveys a deep affection and appreciation. We need to get in the habit of knowing what works. You know, it's not about the price tag. You don't have to buy a fancy new car. You don't have to buy a brand new house. You don't have to buy all those things. You can just make that person feel very loved because of the consistency of you giving them little gestures, little gifts that make them feel very important. Remembering a special date, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than forgetting a person's birthday, who's your partner, or forgetting, if you're married, forgetting your anniversary. That is the worst kind of thing. That is one way to get the marriage rocky. If one person is devoted to doing that, but you always seem to forget, that's a rocky path that you're taking. So it's very, very important to pick up something, so maybe even a favorite snack, something that makes that person feel good. At least they think that you're paying attention, so you make that person feel cherished and valued. So receiving gifts, again, like I said, you can even go to the dollar store and pick up something. Yes, it's good. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. It's just the thought. They always said it's the thought that matters, and that's why it's important to know what your partner's love language is. And I'll get, again, like I said, I'll get to that in a minute. And the other thing is spending quality time. I don't know how many of you, like I showed in my in that video, there was no quality of time. And then there was another part of the video that shows two people just enjoying each other's company, spending time, and the other ones were just gazing into each other's eyes. These are very important aspects of our love language. Quality time. It's about giving your partner or your friend or whomsoever undivided attention. you know there's nothing more important than that. Your partner is talking to you, and what are you doing? You're so busy on your phone or your laptop or your whatever, and you're not paying attention, but they're talking, they want your attention, but you don't have time. Or you grab the food, she's prepared or he's prepared, and you grab it and you go and sit in front of the television while they're talking, and you say, I hear you, but you don't hear him or her. You're not paying attention. Eye contact is important. It's important for them to know you're there. You see them. You recognize their presence. But if your mind is on something else and they're talking, it's a put off. That individual what happens eventually is the individual, your partner may decide, well, it's not worth it even trying to get your attention. You're not paying attention. So they start moving away. Slowly but surely, you start noticing that they are no longer interested in being with you, because it's a waste of time. When they're with you, you're not engaged. You have to be engaged in meaningful conversations, share experiences with each other. Share experience, what happened in your day. You may not be interested in their day, depending on the work they do, but just listen to what that it may not be important to you what their day was like, but it's important to them, and that's why they're sharing it. So it doesn't hurt to listen. And so shared experiences is very, very important. You listen to them, they listen to you. You listen to her, he listens to you, etc., etc. You create lasting memories together. One of the fun things I like to do is, to get my uh, to get the picture, uh, look at the albums. You look at when you guys started. Sometimes we focus on the albums and the children, when the children were born, all the exciting things that happened then, but we forget also that it's important before the children came. Where were you? What were you doing? What exciting things were you doing? So it's very, very important to take the time and look at the album and remember when you first met, those pictures you took. Remember those things that gave you comfort, made you feel loved. Just talk about it. It creates lasting memories together. Now I know you can also do other things that will create lasting memories. You go if it's sunny, if it's a sunny day, go out for a walk in the morning. Weekends, for the most part, you're home during the weekends. Take long walks. Enjoy a meaningful meal outside at a restaurant if you wish, or even at home. However, enjoy a meal together and talk to each other. Just simply sitting with each other without distractions. That is very, very helpful, very, very meaningful. And the key is to be present and engaged. Quality time is a love language that is so important. This fosters, what that does is it creates deeper connections and enhances emotional intimacy. I had a wonderful visit with my friend. She's a psychologist now, and congratulations to her. But it was really wonderful to be in her presence with her husband. I visited for about a week, and one of the things that I found that was so interesting that they did after they prepared the meal, they discussed what was going to be prepared, what they needed to prepare, and they have to be in agreement what that food would be. And then after they prepared the meal, I noticed that first of all, of course, they prayed together. Many of you do that. They pray. But then after the prayer and after consumption of the meal, they will pull out a motivational book and they will read excerpts from those from the book. One of them will pick a particular excerpt that they want to read. And after reading it, they'll sit there and they'll discuss it. What does that mean to them? What did they get out of it? They're having a serious conversation with each other about what they read. And I was, I was a witness. I just sat down and listened. And it ultimately what happens is, because before they parted ways, they'll pray again, and they'll pray. And after they pray, they wish each other good luck in wherever they're going, and express love, make love comments, loving comments to each other, and before they leave. So none of that I peck you in the I peck you on the nose, and I go my merry way. That's not how they deal with it. They make sure that each they understand, and they look each other in the eye. And I'll be all very honest with you. I picked up with that relationship, and I really loved it, and I just started practicing it. And and it's been very helpful to me, very helpful to me. And you'll find that once you make it a point of duty not to part ways without making each other understand that, I love you and you're my world, and I will continue to think about you when I'm no longer here with you. Just because I'm leaving for work or whatever doesn't mean that you're not in my heart. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing, for me to see. And I started emulating it. And before, my husband is kind of old fashioned. You have to really introduce something new to make him understand that, okay, well, we can try something different. But I've been married almost about 50 years now. So, I'm doing something right, and he's doing something right to some degree. So, the other thing that really makes the connection continue to be meaningful is giving physical touch, hugging, kissing. It has nothing to do with age. Everybody has a need to feel loved and secure. So, touching, even a simple touch on the arm can create a sense of safety and warmth for those who value this love language. All right. So physical touch can communicate love in a powerful way. Hug, I'll see you later, look him in the eye, or look her in the eye and give her a kiss or something like that. You're just reinforcing your connection and belonging to this person, or this friend, well, no, or your husband, your wife, your lover, whatever. It's important to understand boundaries, though, because not everybody is comfortable with physical affection. Some people prefer not to be touched for whatever their reasons are, But for those who are, it can be a crucial aspect of feeling loved and secure. So now the question is, why does understanding these love languages matter? I've given you 5 of them. Why are they important? Why are they important? Well, it can significantly enhance our relationships. That's the bottom line. How do we enhance our relationships? Love is not an easy thing. Marriage, partnerships, that's not easy. Nobody can tell you that it's easy, but you have to work at it. When you see people who are out there, they're old and they still love each other, and they've been married for many, many years, but they are still looking each other in the eyes, they're still walking hand in hand. And you wonder, wow, how come my relationship can be that way? It's because maybe, just maybe, you are not paying attention to what your love language is. It's important for you to know it. And it takes work. You have to make sure that you understand your partner if you want longevity. Now, some of us get married or we fall in love and all of that, and it's before you know it, it's amazing. Some of the stars, they fall in love, and it's announced, and we're all excited for them, and in 3 months, they parted ways. Because even though love, infatuation, and all of that can bring you together, but that you have to work hard to maintain that relationship. Okay, so imagine being in a romantic relationship where one partner speaks words of affirmation while the other prefers acts of service. Without understanding each other's love language, it's easy to feel unappreciated, and sometimes it leads to misunderstandings and conflict. So, for instance, one partner may be lavishing compliments. Oh, you look good, and all that sort of thing. And like I said earlier, compliment what you see. They look good, they smell good, and all that sort of thing. And well, that may be okay for you, but the other may just value actions over words. So the affection might go unnoticed. And that's why it's so important that you connect with each other. Know what works. Know what works. You're not doing your partner a favor by knowing what works. You're doing yourself a favor, because that's what's going to keep peace in your home. That's going to keep the relationship going. So take the time and find out what is your partner's love uh, 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 language. What is it? And it doesn't hurt for you, if you know what your love language is, to share it. Share it. Here's a quick tip. Take a moment to reflect on your own love language. What is it? Share it. Share it with your partner. Let them know what makes you tick, what makes you feel good, what makes you happy. Don't assume that they should know. Nobody knows anything about you that you don't share. Some things they may know, but a lot of things they don't know. They can use some help. They can use some assistance in understanding what's going to make you happy. What makes you happy? You ask yourself that wherever you are today. If you're in a relationship, ask yourself, what is it that if he does for me, it will make me happy? Is it, do I like gifts? Would he make me happy if he buys me gifts? Am I focused on just the gifts, the price tag on the gift, or is it just the thought that matters to you? Let him know that, and vice versa. It doesn't always have to be, if he buys me something magnificent like a brand new car and all of that. That's not necessarily all that shows that he loves you. Like that old man in the store, just bringing his wife flowers makes her happy, and it makes him happy that he knows that that's what makes her happy. You get what I mean? So it's important for you to identify what it is and communicate it to your partner, even to your friends, even to members of your family. My grandson is 13 years old. He's at the age that sometimes, they're growing, they want their independence, and they don't really want you to bother with them. They're all into whatever it is they're doing. But my grandson, my 13-year-old grandson, always, whenever he hears me come out in the morning, because they're visiting here, whenever he sees me come out in the morning, he runs to a hi, Nene, and he bends down for me to kiss his forehead. Never fails. That tells me that is his love language. He likes that kiss, that touch from grandma. And then once I kiss his forehead, he says, I love you too, grandma. That's his love language. Now I know it. He's shown me what it is. So every time I see him and he comes and bends, I know that's his love language. Now, my other grandson, on the other hand, he's the one that likes to, me to see that he's doing something that makes me feel good. And what is that? Every time he sees me, he goes, oh, I'll take the trash out. He goes to the bathroom or wherever, and he takes the trash out. And he'll say, you're welcome, Nene. You're welcome. And I'll say, thank you so much, my darling. I love you so much. You're welcome, Nene. He wants me to, his love language is, doing things, to impress you by acts of service, so to speak. That's his thing. That's what he likes to do. And for me, my husband is acts of service. He likes to just do, he does cooking. He loves to cook. He loves to run errands, and he loves to do chores. And I don't have to tell him to do that, because I've shown him that's what makes me feel good. I love those things. And so it's become second nature to him. He now understands how we get along. And for my part, I like the quality time. I like to spend time together, free from distractions. Sometimes that doesn't work. Something always comes up, and just kind of interferes with that. Now, my brother, on the other hand, that is how quality time is very, very important to him. Sometimes you call him and you want to chat, and he doesn't want to chat with you, because he will tell you right flat out, I'm spending time with my wife. I'll call you back later. I love that, because he is making her feel very, giving her emotional intimacy. Or today they're watching a movie, or whatever it is they're doing, or they're traveling somewhere, but there's always that quality time that he devotes to her. So I don't know what you do in your own family, but you want to consider, what part, what is your love language? What is it? Because all of us deserve, to feel cherished and valued. But sometimes we don't get it because our partner does not know what we want. So it becomes an imperative that we show what we want. We teach what we want, even by our actions, we'll let them know this is what I like. And if they do it, if they do something that you like, you compliment them. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. Because what that tells them is that you appreciate what they've done, particularly if it's something that they don't do all the time, but they do it. Hey, listen, you let them know that you appreciate it. So it's important, and I'm going to repeat that. It is important that you let your partner know. Don't assume that they know, because they don't know. And all of you who are having problems in your relationships, come to the front. I want to talk to you. Don't give up. Don't give up. It may not be the way it was when you first started, all the lovey-dovey and all that excitement, blah, blah. As you get older and as your relationship grows, it becomes a whole lot more that keeps you together. It becomes a whole lot more that make you feel that you are enhancing your relationship. And it's not when it starts to ebb, that doesn't mean it's dead. When it starts to ebb, that means that there are certain things that you're holding from each other that you need to find again. Find those words of affirmation and don't be stingy with it. Talk about it all as often as you can. Compliment, compliment, compliment. It does not hurt. It does not hurt. And if that's what makes you feel good, let your partner know that. You love compliments. Let them know. And you may be surprised that if they know that's what makes you happy, they'll continue to say it more and more often, and you feel more and more, um, you feel better and better and better about your relationship. So it's important when it comes to affirmations, when it comes to giving love, using that as a love language, you do not hold back. Don't hold back. Be kind, be excited, just give of yourself, give your words. Words do not hurt. Words absolutely do not hurt. Or what it does, it just makes the individual feel so much closer to you. Somebody says, yes, I've been married. Yes, 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 50 years. 50 years. Can you believe that? I know I don't look it, but I've been married for 50 years and it has not been perfect. We had our moments. Yes, we've had our moments. But hey, the important thing is that I know what he likes and he knows what I like. And that keeps us connected. And that's what will keep you connected. That's what will keep you connected. And the other thing is, the person getting older, when you have someone and he or she is getting older, sometimes we we stop feeling very good about ourselves as we age. But it certainly makes us feel good when our partner still sees us. They don't see our age, they see us. They continue to be connected. Never assume, because as she or he's aging, you're aging as well. So you have to find those love languages that work for you at your age. You can't be doing some of the things that little 21-year-olds do. It may not work for you at that age, but you must be in the business of finding what works. What do I do today that's going to make my partner feel so very good about me and our relationship? This is very, very important. And I can speak about this because for somebody who's been married 50 years, it's not easy. It's not easy. But I can tell you that it takes work. Oh, we have our moments that, I don't want to speak to him. He doesn't want to speak to me. But then I have to remember, okay, Now we may not be feeling good about each other today, but that is not the end of the story. That is not the reason for us to part ways. So it takes work. Yes, somebody says, oh yes, Dr. Wonyo Hosimiri. Well, I appreciate it. The definition, explanation of love language is fully understood. Thanks to Dr. Gary too. Personally, I have learned so many things from this. Yes, I learned so much from Dr. Gary, Chapman. It's so important. Like I said earlier, you need to go out there and seek these things. You need to be willing to find a way to keep the fire going, because the fire will burn out if you don't add the coal. If you don't add the wood, it will burn out. That's what life is all about. You got to find those wood. As a matter of fact, find them, cut them up, and put them by the fireplace, and make sure that when you need them, you can get them and use them to keep that fire burning. And again, I say to you, it has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with age. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean the spark has to die. It doesn't have to die. You have to work at it. You have to make it work. And then that's just the bottom line. You have to make it work. And if you choose not to make it work, quite frankly, the bottom line is that you'll be divorced tomorrow. But I have to tell you though, it's not just about your your lover, your partner, also your family members. You need to know what they like, what keeps peace in the family, your children. I told you about my grandson. I know what she likes. I know my daughter who's in college. She's getting her PhD. Congratulations to her. We're so proud of her. I know what makes her happy. She'll call me and she wants me to, she'll talk to me and she says, okay, mom, I want us to pour libations. She loves that, the connection with the ancestors, the connection with me, giving her spiritual words of wisdom. She loves that. So I know what works with her. I know what works with my son. My son loves compliments, so I love to compliment him, and that makes him feel good. And my son will do more and more and more for you the more you compliment him. Let me read my body language. This is somebody's a post here. My body language to my grandkids is spending quality time with them and they kissing me on the cheek to show appreciation. Yes, 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 yes. That's your love language. And the children love it. We need to pay attention. We need to get out of this, screaming and yelling and fussing and being so disagreeable with each other. Now, sometimes in the moment, the heat of the moment, when you're upset and you're angry, it may well be that you think that's the way to let off steam. But that is not the problem. Letting off steam is not a problem. It's just not making that the end of your relationship. You always, sometimes it's good to just go out there and decompress, go out on your own or whatever. But when you come back, remember what your love language is. So you've had a little row, but come back and reintroduce yourself with your love language. I always say, if you get mad at each other and you leave the house, come back with something. Come back with a little gift or something to say, hey, it's over. The argument is over, but let's start again. That's the joy of it all. Starting again, not quitting. We were too quick to quit, and you cannot be married for 50, 60, 70 years if you are so inclined to quit. Your marriage may end in 1 month or 2 months or whatever. Whatever it is that made you guys love each other, you need to find it again. You need to find it and communicate it. Communication is powerful. Speak, talk to each other. And you know what I had told you about my friend in Arizona. It's one of the most powerful things that you can do, and that is to share that moment. Read something that's affirming, that you guys can share, and you have a discussion, and she will give you her perspective, or you will give him your perspective. It is a powerful thing. I'm telling you, if you have not done that, well, you probably just heard about it today. I would recommend that you take the time and do that. Do that with your partner. You'll be amazed at how compatible you guys become, even more and more, and how more intimate you become. You talk more. Those powerful. I love Ian Levanzant. Ian Levanzant books are just powerful books. Every page has some beautiful nuggets that you can have a conversation about and make you feel good, make him or her feel good. It's just a beautiful thing. So practice that. Practice that. Sometimes if you're doing something and it gets to the point that, well, it's getting a little stale, it's okay. It's okay. Try something else. you know Try something else. You don't have to stick to something if it doesn't work, but at least do something. At least do something that for a period of time keeps you together, and then you can find something else new to do. Okay. I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's not easy being married 50 years to the same man, and for him to the same woman. So it's almost like you have to keep finding ways to stay connected. I'm going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back. And so that you the guest on this show always looking forward to have something to share. That may be you. That's the case. You call us 448-773-1857. We would love to feature whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is your talents are, whatever you think the world should know about what you're doing. We love to share it here, make you a part of our community. So anyway, speaking more about love languages, I just want to share this part with you. Um, Love languages can also apply beyond romantic relationships. You have that friend that you guys are getting along beautifully, and all of a sudden, they don't call anymore. They don't have time for you anymore. You get upset. What's going on? It may well be that their own love language, which if it's a friend, it's a friendship language, right? You're not meeting their needs anymore, or you're taking them for granted, or maybe they have shared with you who they are, what they enjoy, but you're no longer interested, or you're not exemplifying those things. That may put a damper on a relationship. So it's also important that if you're somebody's friend, to let them know what you like in a friendship. I like to go out to eat with my friend. Is that your love relationship? Is that your love language for your friend? You like to go and eat. You like to go to sports events. You like to just walk to the river and dip your feet in the water. What is it that makes your friendship, that will make your friendship last? Because, like I said, it's not all about romantic relationships. Every one of us need friends. Friendship is a powerful thing. I have sometimes I say, I want to be by myself this time. I don't want to go here and there. But after a little while, I do want to be connected. I do want to go and see somebody because I love their company. Because when I meet them, we go somewhere, we do something fun. So, but you have to let your friends know what they like. Because if you're not doing what they like, then there's no point in you being their friends. They will start excluding you and start not having time for you. I have a friend now. I have to be honest. We tend to go about places, and we used to do a lot of things together, and then all of a sudden, that has changed, right? So because that has changed, because we don't seem to find the time to go out and do all those things, the relationship just started fading into just a phone call now and then, or maybe even a few weeks of no calls, or maybe even a month of no calls. So to keep relationships meaningful and ongoing, you also have to know what your friend likes and how you guys can stay connected and not lose your friendship. And the same thing goes for your family dynamics. I told you what my family members love. What do your family members love? Somebody wrote here, said their grandchildren love to kiss and hug and all that. That's wonderful. That's what makes the children feel like they belong, and it deepens their connections with family members. What is yours? Today, I have my nephew graduated from college. I know, he's a young man, and I want to be connected with him. Because sometimes family members, when you're an auntie or a grandmother or whatever, or uncle, you don't really seek, and I hate to say this, but sometimes we don't really seek to have that connection very strong. When you're connected to your family members, your mom, your dad, your uncles, your aunties, and nephews, nieces, so that is building memories, so that when you're no longer here, they remember. Now, unfortunately, there are just some individuals that you can't seem to connect with, family members, and that's unfortunate. But those that you can connect with, it's important to make sure that you maintain that relationship. Maintain that relationship, understanding how they feel, how you express love to them, or even you can tell them how they can express their love for you. It creates a stronger, more fulfilling bonds. Today, I'm going to have lunch with my nephew. Sometimes I take him. He's a grown young man. He's 22 or 23, I think, going on 23. And I enjoy taking him out to lunch or going out to a movie with him now and then. Something that many of us don't do. We tend to think that the family member is too old and may not be interested. You're building memories. You're building your relationship. It doesn't end because maybe the family member is grown. You always seek it. If they don't seek it, try and seek it yourself. Try and reel them in, because someday you're not going to be here. But what you do for your family members, how you approach them, how you deal with them, will build your legacy with them, build memories with them. So you always have to, believe it or not, it's work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But as I indicated earlier, understanding how those around you express their love and create stronger, more fulfilling bonds is what you must find out. Okay. For example, recognizing that a friend values quality time, like I said earlier, it encourages you to plan more one-on-one outings, enhancing your friendship, enhancing your relationship with your family members. Sometimes that we tend to keep things bottled in us, and somehow we think that our partners or friends or family members are supposed to know. And if they don't know, and they're not approaching you the way you want, the way you like, you get offended. He's not paying me any attention. She's not paying me any attention. She's in her own world. I'm in my own world. The reason why that's the case is because you're not understanding each other, or you have not shared with each other what your love languages are. So it's really very important. It's not an easy thing. I'm not by any means suggesting it's an easy thing to do. It's not, but it is work that needs to be done. If you have people in your life that you love so much, and you find that somehow that you're separating, you're not doing what you need to do together, well, I tell you, you are pushing yourself out the door. But if you want to stay connected, the work is worth doing. The work is worth doing. Find out what makes people love you or treat you special. Find that out. Find that out. Doesn't hurt. I was at a restaurant and I saw this family, whole family, all of them on their cell phone. Nobody's looking at each other. The only time they came up for air was to order the food. And after the food was ordered, that was it. They were done. They were done. They were all on their laptops, cell phones, in a totally different world, oblivious of each other's presence. But in their little minds, they feel that, well, we went out to eat. We went to the restaurant. But that's really not real companionship. Because if you're together in a place and you're not talking to each other and you're doing something else, you might as well not even go. That's not quality time. Quality time means that put everything else aside. I know some individuals that will say, okay, everybody put away your your phones. They will take everybody's phones and put it away in a bag or something. And that means we are going to pay attention to each other. We are going to spend quality time. And for some of us, now I'm going to say this, some of us have gotten so used to each other that we don't even go anywhere. We don't plan anything. We don't go to movies. We don't go to outings. We don't even go to see friends. If you're doing that, your relationship is not going to last. It's not. It just absolutely will not. You have to get in the habit of making sure that, everybody's happy. You are happy. Everybody's happy. You know what I'm saying? You cannot expect the world to be happy with you when you don't tell them what they should do to make you happy. Tell them. Now, if they don't do it, if they're not interested in what makes you happy, well, ultimately, it's not going to work. You may find yourself ready for a divorce. But if you haven't even tried, if you have not made any efforts to ensure that your partner understands where you're coming from, what your needs are, then there's nothing left to be done. Then it's a waste of time. You don't waste your time with anybody who does not give you what you want. And again, what I mean is not, when I say give you what you want, I don't mean give big expensive gifts or anything like that. I'm talking about that we talked about for quality time. Somebody who's willing to do some things for you. Like as I said earlier, act of service. Somebody who doesn't care about doing something that makes you feel good. But they may not know what your love language is, so you have to share that with them. You have to be as a matter of fact, your role in a partnership is to make that relationship work. Your role in the family is to make the family relationship dynamics work. It's not easy. Sometimes you try and you fail, but don't give up. That's the point. Never give up because it seems like it's hard. As a matter of fact, the harder it seems, the more hard work you should apply to it. Let me. I want to read some of the comments that I have here. Let's see. This is beautiful. Choosing each other every day. Appreciation for each other. That's it. Lamis. Choosing each other, having special time. I mean, you're going to have your own special time. There's no two ways about that. But if you're in a relationship, you've got to make time for that other person. You can, so you don't take advantage of an individual because you're now married to them, because they're not going to be there for a long time. I can grant you that. After a while, they'll start looking for somebody who pay them attention. But if you want that relationship to work, you got to put in that work. You got to know what they want and do it. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you. All it does, it brings you closer together. And that's why it's important to know the love language of your partner. Somebody here says, yes, most of the time I personally use words of affirmation on my partner, while sometimes he comes up with little tokens to show appreciation. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you stay together. That's why some people, after 2 months, they're done. They don't have time for each other anymore. Because, what's the point? First of all, they don't know what each other wants. And so they don't contribute to nothing. They don't contribute to anything. They're just satisfied with just, let's just move along. We're getting older. Let's just move this relationship along. And that's not happiness. In any relationship, you want to be happy. You want to feel happy. And it's your right to be happy in your relationship. Dr. O, you're making me fall in love with love all over again. Good, Labis. I'm hoping so. Yes. Fall in love as much as your life is too short. If we can make living or loving somebody contribute to our own well-being, absolutely. Yes, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you feel that way, Labis. Thank you so much. And then we have hey, Queen Mother, happy to have you here. Hello, Tabitha Burha. Thank you for coming on this show today. Great lesson again by actually knowing the likes of my friends instead of the other way around. I mean, doing what I like towards my friends that might not be their likes. That's true. That's true. Great friendships. I know that some of you watch, you go to the internet and you see great friends have traveled to distant lands, and they're doing so many fun things. They really understand each other. They know each other. They know what will keep their relationship. And all I'm saying today is, you you have to make life what you want it to be. Nobody can do it for you. Most people don't even know what you want. Your partner, just because you've been married for so many years, doesn't necessarily mean that they know what you want. Okay, so you have to work for it. You just put in the time. Don't be so quick to give it up. Lami says, my mom shows her love with food. Yes. Oh my goodness. She believes that true wealth in a home is the smell of a home cooked meal in the air. I remember when I was growing up in my home in Nigeria, we couldn't wait to come home from school, because once you step in that house, oh my God, the smell of food, mom's been cooking. And if he's not cooking, he's showing the housekeeper what to cook. And it's something to look forward to. That's the way that she expressed her love for us, to make sure we ate well, and the house was always very clean, very clean. And you tell her, mom, the house looks so good, and she feels good. If you compliment her, once you compliment her, she does more and more and more and more. And I'm going to say to some of these people who are married and they don't compliment you, come into a house and the food looks good, you just grab your own food and you go and sit in front of the television, and you ignore, and you don't even say, oh, this food looks good. You just, or maybe you say, oh, this food looks good, and that's it. That's the connection. You don't have anything else to say to the person who prepared it. It's best to sit at the table with the person who prepared it, and you can tell them, oh, this food is so good, that sort of thing. They appreciate it. That next time they'll even put in more work making sure that the food is prepared. And I'm not just talking about women preparing food. There are men who can cook. Like I said, my husband can kill it at the table. I mean, in the kitchen, and because I love his cooking, and I let him know. Sometimes I don't even cook because I'm looking forward to his cooking, which is better than mine. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I said it. I'm a good cook to some degree, but he is a better cook, and I let him know that. And so that makes him want to cook even more and more and more. And who benefits? I do. I do. And he does. It makes him feel good, or he'll run these errands for you. And when he comes back, oh, thank you so very much. Never take anything a partner does for granted. Never. Don't do that. It's important for them to know that they're doing it for you. This is their way of showing you that they love you. And your complimentary ways shows them that you appreciate what they are doing, and it becomes complimentary, you see. So as far as loving each other, it takes work. And I cannot overemphasize that. It takes work, and you must be willing to put in that work. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 90 years old. Everybody wants to feel loved and respected and honored. So you do the work, and you will find that you will be connected with your partner for many, many years as I have been, as I am today. Okay. And again, it has nothing to do with age. Okay. Somebody says, Dr. O, do you think that the woman sets the tone for love when it comes to things that matter? Well, to some degree, yes. To some degree, yes. I think women are more forward. Women are more vocal. Women are more apt to tell you how they feel, more so than the man does. But it's also important that we find out what our male partners want. They deserve to feel loved and comforted as well. So find out what they like so that you do it for them. It's the reciprocity is, he does what you like, you do what he likes. And somehow that evolves into support, love, and enhancement of your relationship. Don't let it be one-sided. It cannot be one-sided. Love does not grow if it's all one-sided. So today I am hoping that you've learned something from me today about the importance of having your own love language and sharing it with your partner. I'm going to read this one last post here, but I have a question though. What of if you put up so many effort for a family relationship and still it proves difficult to work? Then what do you do to this? Well, let me say this very clearly. It's good to have family members. Okay, it's good to love your family. Sometimes your family are really good people to have in your life, but there's always some of those family members that don't work. Don't try too hard. If you've tried and you don't succeed, back off a little bit. Give them their space. Sometimes, they themselves are struggling. They don't know what they want. And so they don't reciprocate because they don't know what they want. They haven't told you exactly what you may be working hard and thinking, I'm doing all that I'm doing everything, and it's not working. It's probably because what you're doing is not really what they want. So if you can't find out what they want, then you may want to back out a little bit and give it some time. Give them some space. And if they come back looking for you, then you know that the relationship will work. But sometimes, like I said earlier, it's important to find out what actually works. So you're not killing yourself doing all these things, but you're actually finding out what makes people love you, what will keep your relationship going. It takes work, like I said, and you have to find that out. So, in closing, I just want to share with you that um, love can also apply beyond what you know. That's why it's important to go out and find out, read books, go to meetings, go to conferences, go to motivational programs that speak of relationships. You will learn a lot. So thank you so very much for tuning in to this episode on love languages. If you found this helpful, share it with someone you care about. Until next time, keep nurturing those connections. And remember, love is a language best spoken with understanding. Thank you all for joining me today, and I certainly am looking forward to seeing you again on the Ntomodu show next Saturday. This was inspiring. Thank you for adding more love, Dr. O. I appreciate you and your heart, and I appreciate you very much for being here today. Until we see you again next Saturday, you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. So long.